I owed a lot of money to a lot of people and I didn't have it in my reserves, I would not be able to just make it up out of thin air and continue to pay it. But isn't that exactly what our government is doing?
Yeah, if a private company reported its a balance sheet the way the U.S. government did, they'd lock them up for fraud. Right? I mean, so you can't do that. And yeah, I mean, we're running a giant Ponzi scheme. Bernie Madoff had that part right. You remember when they originally, charged Bernie Madoff with running his Ponzi scheme? He said, well, look, I mean, the U.S. government is running the biggest Ponzi scheme out there. And at the time, a lot of people were saying, well, Bernie Madoff doesn't have any credibility. Why should we listen to him? And I was saying, well, wait a minute. He has credibility on one thing, Ponzi schemes. And he ought to know one when he sees one. That's why I thought we should have made him Secretary of the Treasury. Because, he had experience with Ponzi schemes, and we're running the biggest one. So who better than Madoff to be Treasury Secretary?
Yeah. If you want to know how a criminal thinks, hire a criminal, right? That's why a lot of these cybersecurity guys are guys who used to be hackers, and they end up working in cybersecurity firms. That's a great point. How about this? I got one for you. How about if the reason gold is rising like crazy recently, and has been, is because people in our government, maybe even the Trump administration or Mr. Trump himself, says, you know what? Let's go ahead and let gold become more powerful than the dollar, and let's revalue everything so we can cover this huge debt that we have. And I heard somebody the other day talking about this. What is her name? Caitlin Long. I heard her discussing this on a podcast. That she thinks that Bassett and these guys want to rebase the dollar on what gold used to be worth. So I guess that what are they? Have you heard this theory?
Well, it used to be worth $20 an ounce.
$24.
We can't go back to that.
Yeah.
So, but no, we don't have enough gold. Assuming we actually have the gold that we're supposed to have, we don't have enough. I mean, maybe, I don't know, 40,000. I don't know where gold would have to be for it to be adequate. But it's not going to happen. We're not going to be able to repay the debt. We're going to either default on it, or we're going to inflate it away. That's what gold is telling you. And, the Jerome Powell may deny that gold's move represents some loss of confidence in the Fed and the dollar, but that's exactly what it represents. It's not an accident that this is happening when you have Fed independence in jeopardy. Not that it was ever really independent, but at least there was a pretense. And now they're trying to drop the pretense completely and allow the president to control the Fed. And so, yes, people don't want dollars, and they're moving to gold. In fact, I think the recent sharp decline in gold, I think that was orchestrated by the White House. I think that they were scared of what was happening, and so they coordinated this, this short selling raid to coincide with a false narrative, that is perpetuated by the media, based probably off of talking points fed to them by the Trump administration.
Right now, as you watch this, your brain is being hijacked. You think you're in control. But there's a backdoor to your mind that 99% of people don't know exists.
That Walsh is some kind of unexpected pick that is an inflation hawk that is going to be tougher than Powell, less likely to cut rates, in fact, may even come in hot and raise rates right away and clamp down on money supply. I don't believe any of this, because there's no way Trump spent the last year criticizing Powell for being too late to cut rates, and now he's going to nominate somebody that, in his opinion, would be way worse than Powell, because he would be even tighter than Powell.
That doesn't pass the smell test. You're absolutely right. Like, why in the hell would all of a sudden we be talking about, oh, this new guy, you thought Powell was bad, this guy's going to be even worse? What? Where did that come from? Do you believe that the U.S. government would actually do something like that to control what should be part of a fair-based system?
Look, I think maybe Scott Bassett or Lutnick or somebody got to the president and said, Donald, we got a real problem here. Gold and silver are screaming. The dollar's at a 4-year low. It's at a record low against the Swiss franc. Yields are rising. you need to put out this fire now. We need to do something about it. And I think that's what they did. Now the question is, how much time did they buy by, floating, this BS balloon and taking some of the, the wind out of the precious metal sails? I think what's going to happen too is, this is my guess, I don't have any proof, but I think what's going to happen is when when Walsh gets in there and then ends up doing exactly what Trump wants.